What was that?
I don't know. It was buzzing really bad. It wasn't like feedback, but it was no bueno.
There was no point.
I took my headphones off.
I don't need coffee now.
We'll see if this still makes that problem. Let's see.
Okay, live, it's not coming through.
What are you looking at? You have to refresh your page. There we go. Mike Wiesner says, hi, buzzer.
He apparently heard it. Maybe that was the sound of a buzzard.
He was just trying to see if you were awake, Kent.
I saw you pull your earplugs.
I have in-ears, so yes, I did pull my plugs.
I saw you pull those out.
100% I did.
Conrad asked, where do I submit my images for the contest? It's Explore Alliance, right?
Yeah, you can go into that menu option. You'll see the Galaxy Photography Contest.
Yeah, we can show them where to go.
Yeah, I'll show today. So don't worry, Conrad. I will show you today.
And we look forward to seeing your pictures.
Yes, definitely.
It's cool to watch those birds come in and fold their wings and start to just fall out of the sky.
I wonder how long it took him to record this.
You know, probably not that long. Like that bird right there, when he comes up over that branch, this is so cool.
Do you think they're trained birds?
I think they're probably well-conditioned birds.
Only to the degree they'll eat out of her hand.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking it's probably really cold and she doesn't have a glove on and I would be freezing and I'd be grip and eat this bird feed.
They are some kind of a chickadee.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, but not from North America. Beautiful. I mean, they're awesome.
Well, do we have here? We've got Mike Wiesner and Book Davies and Beatrice Hines, of course, Conrad, Martin Eastburn. We've got Pekka Hautala, and we've got Norm Hughes. And hello to everyone, including all those people that are not in the chat. So, Jeff Wise, hello, bird fans.
This video is cool.
Looks refreshing, actually. getting a nice shower. Well, hello, everybody. This is Scott Roberts here with Explore Scientific and the Explore Alliance. And this is our episode of On the Wing with Dan, George, and Kent Marts. And this is a special episode because we've got viewer submissions that we're going to go over. So that's pretty cool. We have Annie here from the Explore Alliance. Is there anything that you wanted to cover this afternoon, Annie?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen. So, because we had somebody in the chat ask how to submit for that astrophotography contest that ends August 15th. So, let me do that real fast. So here's our page. If you'll go to, this is the front. So if you just go to explorescientificusa.com, and it'll take you to this page. Then you'll go to Explore Alliance and you'll hover over to events and experiences, and then you'll slide down to Galaxy's Astrophotography Contest. Click on that, and this is where you'll submit. Oh yeah, click here to enter. And this is where you'll submit your pictures. So email address, first name, last name, address. Then you can add your file, information about the subject of the image, and then the type of equipment you used and things like that. The great thing is we don't require our submissions to use our gear. It's just something that we don't do, and so we just want to see what you're doing, and so that's kind of our thing. It's kind of our thing.
It's your thing there, huh?
Yeah. So it's kind of Explore Scientific's thing. Yeah, and then it's just we have a normal, the ED etched glass. Still got 6 of those. So snag those up. They're beautiful, absolutely wonderful. We have the Bino viewers as a pre-order sell. I want to talk about that for a minute. We did have somebody call and ask. They thought that we gave discounts to our members. Unfortunately, we cannot give discounts for all of our products to our members, but we do offer sneak peeks and discounts on new items. That's kind of the thing. But so we had to explain that today. That was a question I got today, and then trying to think anything else.
For instance, when we came before we made the 2-room observatory tent public, we offered it to the Explore Alliance members for a great discount, and we've done that on a number of items as well.
Yeah,
and we'll continue to do that.
Yeah. I did want to say we had a member, Mike, emailed me and said that he got an error when he went to his membership page. So I want to show that again. So when you go to your membership page, I'm not a paid member. I work here, so I'm not a paid member, but
No, you're a paid member, but paid in a different way.
yeah, I just paid in a different way. Anyways, so you log in, and this is my membership page. So you click on manage memberships. For some reason, let's see if it'll do it. It didn't do it, but you can tell I've been playing around with membership over here. But you'll come in and you will it didn't give me an error today, but it did yesterday. So
occasionally you can get an error here.
Occasionally you can get an error, and if that happens, please email me. Please email me, because we're trying to resolve that issue. But since I'm in here, I want to show you guys something. So if you update your payment information, you click on free membership. You can. It won't let me do that either. Well, that's great. But it's supposed if you come in here and you're a paid member, it's probably not there because I'm not paid, but I don't pay for the 99 yearly subscription, but it'll say update Stripe information. I want to address that. That's a little confusing. That's the payment system that is used through this plugin in our on our website. So if you see that, it's not some random company. It's just a payment. It's
Gateway.
but yeah.
It
so
should say update your payment method, but it says update Stripe.
yeah, it'll say
Yeah,
update
right.
Stripe.
Like
It
that's a
says-
household. They want that to be a household name. Like you remember how when you wanted a photocopy, you'd say, "Can you Xerox this for me?"
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't, I probably maybe no one in recent times would know what that even means. But you know, it used to be Xerox is so ubiquitous that everybody called a photocopy a Xerox.
Yeah.
You know, so. But
So
Stripe is
so
not quite there yet. I'm sorry.
yeah, we've tried to get them to remove it. So because we don't want to confuse everybody, but unfortunately the software is not set up where it can do that. So just so the only option I have is to tell people it is supposed to be on there. It is the payment system. You're actually just submitting your credit card information. It's not some weird company that's trying to snag your stuff. So I wanted to relay that information. And but other than that, the astrophotography contest is going on. We've got I'm right now creating labels to go on envelopes, so to get those gift certificates mailed out. I haven't, unfortunately, didn't get to do much with the Explore Alliance today. Tyler made me get behind a mount. I've been behind a mount all day, literally all day today, learning the PMC8 and how to work it. But but tomorrow I'm going to be printing out those labels and getting those taken care of, and getting those certificates I have ready to go out the door. So hopefully next week, those people will be able to see those and get them and put them in frames and hang them up like they're wanting to. So
Awesome.
but yeah, so that's pretty much everything. Just watch the calendar. We're going to add some more stuff to it. So
Hey Scott,
All right.
before we get
Yep.
started with the birds, why don't you talk about reviews and things like that?
Yeah. So there's a couple of places where you can add a review to our company, but one of the places that if you look at the Better Business Bureau, for example, okay, we have lots of reviews on there, but very few reviews on Yelp. A customer was pointing this out to me, and so if you're so inclined, we'd like to get your review on Yelp for Explore Scientific. So if you use Yelp, and I use Yelp a lot to look at restaurants and this kind of thing. But Yelp is also for businesses, and so if you've had an experience with Explore Scientific, we'd like to get your review on there. So I don't know how else to ask for it except to ask you to give us a nice review on Yelp. Or if it's not so nice, let us know. So that's the deal too. So, but we'll make it right.
Can you provide the link in the chat function?
Yes. Let's see.
Well, while he's looking that up, if you have a product of ours, we'd love for you to go onto that product page and give a review there as well. We always, that helps sales. It also gives us feedbacks, because when we get a bad review or something, I will go on and call that person and work with them to try and sort out the problem. That's just,
Well, we do that anyways.
Yeah.
We do that anyways, but
so, Scott, you shared that in the chat function, not on the.
Oh, that's right.
The Zoom
right.
chat.
Sorry about that. Here we go. There you go. So we got some great viewer submissions of some birds, right?
Yes, we do. All right, so here we go. Let me
Right.
share my screen and turn on the sound.
I'm gonna hop off. Y'all have fun.
Bye,
Thanks,
Andy.
Annie. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so y'all seeing that? Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, so Andrew Corkle. This is a house sparrow from Sacramento County, California. House sparrows are ubiquitous in the United States and the Central America. They are an imported invasive species that cause dire consequences to nesting bluebirds and all sorts of other sparrows. So here we go. Let's listen to it real quick. Dan, that's what they sound like. There's just a bunch of them. They just chirp away. What you got for us, Dan?
I think they came from Europe, actually,
Mm-hmm.
and they really are a kind of a pain in the ear, if I could use that, because there's nothing melodious. This is my opinion. There's nothing melodious or redeeming about a house sparrow, except that God created them. Okay, and they're like everywhere. You can listen to programs on TV or movies or whatever, and whenever they want to put a bird sound in there, it's always a doggone house sparrow, which is really, I should help them with something more melodious. But they're in literally every state other than Hawaii, 49 states, and every part of Canada. And basically the black throat and bib, if there's a closer picture that I don't know if there is or not, demonstrates basically the primary identification features of the male.
So yeah, it's
And they're 6.25 inches long, basically.
Yeah, I identify them by the rusty cap, and as you said, the black bib and the black line that goes around the eye. And there's no colored eye circle. It's just a black mask, sort of like the Lone Ranger with a black on his throat. So let's look at a couple more pictures that we have. This is the original photo taken with a smartphone through an Alpen 8x42 Teton binoculars. So Andrew literally used a smartphone adapter and a pair of binoculars on a tripod and shot pictures of birds, and he's continuing to do that. Thank you, Andrew. And I noticed that there was these round green things on the tree, and so knowing he's in California, I said, is that an orange tree? It is not. It's a lemon tree. So I guess lemon and orange trees are sort of ubiquitous, and you see pictures of people's houses in there and in Florida with oranges growing in their yards. And I always thought that'd just be cool to go pick an orange, when they're in season, or in this case, a lemon. So this is the same picture. So moving on.
Jeff Wise. Oh, that's the next image.
Which one are you seeing?
We're seeing
hang on a second. You're seeing my home screen. Hang on.
Yes.
We shared. See, I'm not watching the online. I'm watching my screens and didn't realize I was sharing. Here we go.
So that's Andrew's shot.
That's Andrew's shot through the binoculars, and he cropped it to get that shot. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
He cropped it to get that shot. There's that sound of those stinking sparrows again.
okay, enough of that.
Enough of that rocket.
See, I like it. I like that sound. I don't know why, but I do.
If you like bird calls, I got about 150 I'd like to share with you someday.
That are somewhat more melodious and pleasing.
I actually play bird calls in my office sometimes, and people walk in my office and go, "Where are those birds coming from?" You know?
Yeah, and oh yeah, he'll play these sounds, and it's like there's birds in the building. So here's a photo from Jeff Weiss, Sacramento County. Andrew's not in Sacramento County. I can't remember. What county is he in?
Andrew's in Orange County.
Orange County. Okay. Although that was lemons in his yard, so he lives in Lemon Block of Orange County. So this is a mourning dove and fledglings, or actually past fledglings. The day after he took this picture, they were gone. So let me go. Let's go to the next slide real quick, and I'm going to play this sound.
Nice. Jeff says he hears that sound every day.
They're found in every state in every state in North America. They're found in every whatever Canadas are called. What are they called? Everywhere in Canada. They were everywhere.
Province. The provinces.
I've had a lot, I have one of those brain farts here. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, but I will add that they are monomorphic, which means you cannot discern the difference between a male and a female.
Okay.
They're resident. They do not migrate, and they're virtually anywhere. I mean, you're going to hear them everywhere. And if you hear it, say hallelujah. It sure sounds better than that doggone house finch or house sparrow.
Those sparrows.
House sparrow, I should say. Yeah. It's been a long day, Scotty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Retirement's a tough
I didn't know
life.
you actually had this deep hatred for sparrows, So
Maybe not so deep.
maybe not so deep. Yeah.
Hawks like them really well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Food.
Right.
Are we hearing Kent?
I don't know. Where did Kent go?
He looks like he was talking, but I can't hear him.
I got muted. Here we go. I made this. I haven't done this in decades. I can't make it go.
Rusty. A little rusty.
A little rusty. I mean, literally, it's been decades since I've tried to do that. But
not bad.
You can talk to him back and forth and get him to respond to you. It's really cool, and it's a sound that once you hear it, there's nothing else makes that sound like it. It's not like the trills and the whistles and stuff that birds make. That is a sound that's very loud and very unique. All right, so let's look what else Jeff has for us. So here's
a beautiful shot
on June the 7th. Mm-hmm. So notice the blue eye ring. That blue eye ring is really apparent here. So those were on June the 4th, and by June the 7th they were gone, and this bird was on the nest. And then so that's on June the 7th.
So this is a new bird, a different. Obviously.
On June the 18th, another 2-egg clutch had been laid, and he's not certain whether it's the same female or another female came in to the nest and said, "Oh, here's a nest. I don't have to make a nest." And it's just amazing to look at those 2 eggs and to think they're going to incubate for a period of time, and they're not going to roll out. And it's just amazing that this little twig structure that is not a well-defined nest, like we want to think about a robin's nest as being deep, and it's just sort of an accumulation of sticks and twigs and some grass, and It's raised a nest of babies, and this is right up near the ceiling. It's like 10 feet up. So he got this picture by having to climb up a ladder and take a picture of it. So mourning dove nest, and he's going to continue to monitor, and we'll see a picture if they get to fledge stage and try and get them as itty bitty babies and follow their life. Let's hope the outcome of those birds doesn't follow the robin's nest debacle that I had so many hopes of, and then they got dashed by a deluge. So, mourning dove, a sound that once you hear it, it's just, you'll always know it. It's just, and it's very beautiful yet mournful, quiet sound. All right. How big are those birds, Dan? We didn't talk about how big they were.
They're 12 inches long.
So big old
And
birds.
also they can have 4 to 5 clutches every spring.
Right.
Wow.
So reclutching is a very common for this bird,
Yes.
I guess, right? Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Will they take over another nest, or do they always build their own nest?
Yes and yes. I mean, they can and they do.
Mhm.
I don't know very many people that keep track of stuff like that, but basically, when spring rolls around, it's really wonderful to see the sparrows or finches or even the doves watching them building their nest. They might be resecuring it with additional straw and grass and stuff like that, but whether it was an original one, I don't know.
Yep. Okay, so from there we're moving to Oracle, Arizona, outside the Cassiopeia Observatory, where we're going to look. Let's watch first. Let me see if I can get this to go. There we go. There's
Yep.
no sound because he's shooting
Jeff Wise mentioned in chat that was the third clutch of
the third clutch. Yeah.
Oh,
Aw, look how
So,
cute.
so Mike Wiesner got this through his house. So there's no sound of these birds, but this is a gamble quail. And if you notice, the male ran over there. This is the female right here that you see, and then there's the male over there. Notice that. Let me stop it here if I can. Start it over again. Anyway, you get the idea. The male is much more colorful. You can see it here in the picture of the Gambel's quail bird sound. We're going to play this now. Here we go.
Wow.
So not a bob white sound exactly, but very close to the bob white quail we have around here.
Sounds like they're almost barking or something.
Okay, Dan, go. Gambel's quail.
what I was just going to point out, if I could see the male, it's hard to tell.
There,
The male in a lot of these pigeons or doves, the male has these beautiful teardrop shaped plumes formed at the crest. So when they walk around, they have this bobbing kind of a structure, which indicates the male. And I'm sure that it's used in the mating of doves.
so,
But this particular bird is really a desert bird, and it's limited basically to California, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. That's the only place you'll ever see them.
so there's the male. Let me see if I can. It's not letting me stop it. There you can see the male in this picture.
He looks bigger
Yeah,
than
there.
the female.
Yeah, you can see he's the lead. He's the lead dove.
Yeah, he's this one right here, the lead dove, and you can see outlined in the rock real well that tuft of hair plume hanging in front of him. The female has one too, obviously. I think I counted 16. Would these be colts? Or I didn't look up the term for baby, but quail. But anyway, beautiful birds. I mean, very, and the sounds of them are just, again, once you hear a quail, you pretty know what it's, you may not know what kind of quail, but it all sounds very similar. So Gambel's quail. How big are these birds, Dan?
They're 10 inches long, and Kent, you're correct. Both the male and the female will have the plume, but it's more prominent and longer in the male.
So, quail are, around the country. I think there's 5 or 6 species of quail, if I remember correctly, something along that line.
I didn't do a count on the quail, but I just know that pretty much they are a Western species.
Yeah, the Gambel's is, and there's a number of very, Bob White is sort of ubiquitous across the South, but there are some very specialized birds like Gambel's quail, which is obviously suited to desert environs.
Yeah, you're right. The Bob White is almost ubiquitous, quite frankly.
Right.
But it's an exception to the rule.
All right, so we're going to move on to another picture from Mike Wiesner. This is a Harris's hawk. Let's listen to it. This looks like
Wow.
a taint. Yeah, beautiful bird. Beautiful bird. Let's listen to it real quick.
That's not very melodious.
No, it's not. They'll make that articulation when they're either flying or on a branch. So it's pretty much wherever they are. And they're 21 inches long from the tip of the bill to the tail.
That's a
And
big
if you were
bird.
to see
It's a beautiful
if you were to
bird.
see them, yeah, actually, in all my years of birding, I believe that there's about over 20 species of hawks in North America. This to me is my favorite. Take a look at the white at the base of the rump there. When that's flying, whether you're seeing it flying above you or flying away, that's a real prominent field mark. Plus, in addition to that, there's white at the tip of the tail as well, but in this particular picture, you really can't see it very well. And the male and the female are both monomorphic, so you can't tell the female from the male.
So I'm going to guess. Go ahead.
They're basically a chocolate brown. The entire body is pretty much chocolate brown, and with chestnut shoulders and thighs. And man, the chestnut, boy, in good sun, it is a magnificent. My best memory really was seeing them. Every time I go to Arizona, I'll go birding, and you'll see one of these, and they're usually carrying a rattlesnake or some other kind of an animal, mainly snakes. So they're real snake hunters.
So looking at the video has a picture of a hawk, by a tub of water on it, some kind of stand, and it has bells on its feet. So I'm going to guess it's probably a hawk that's been trained for hunting.
Yeah,
would be my guess, right?
Or for demonstration.
Or demonstration, one or the other. So, and mostly looking at it, it has this weird swath that goes up through the hill country of Texas, mostly in Mexico, and then a little bit decent sized area in Arizona. So probably can be found across southern Arizona and New Mexico, spilling over slightly into California, but very definitely a southern state bird by any measure.
And they're non-migratory. So the only way you can find it is to go to that territory. You'll see them everywhere if you're out there.
Buck Davy says, I've been close when they've caught rabbit. I can hear the feathers screech when they come down fast.
You're
That's
close
really
to
close.
Yeah.
You better be jumping out of the way because it may be deciding your supper. Yeah, that'd be cool to hear that.
Right.
To hear a hawk coming in.
I'm sure those talons could sink into through your skin, no problem.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
Yeah, and look at that hook on that bill. That
Yeah.
thing is clearly designed to rip flesh. Whether it be a snake or
That's right.
a rabbit or whatever.
Yeah, kids, don't try this at home.
Yeah. Notice this person is wearing a very heavy grain leather glove. I'm going to guess this is probably at a nature center somewhere. Oracle State Park would be my guess, since Mike Wiesner lives very, very close to Oracle State Park. This is probably at the Interpretive Center. So moving on.
Nice shot, though.
Here's another picture of a Harris hawk. And this looks like a non-tame bird, because this is not the same bird, because it doesn't have the leggings or galluses, the leather straps that often are on the bird. So it might be the same bird, but that is a magnificent picture.
Yeah.
Take a look at the chestnut on the shoulders, chestnut colored feathering.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't quite really see it, but if he or she were to, give us about 15 degrees up or whatever, you'd see a broad white feathering at the base of the rump.
Yeah. You can sort of see it just barely in the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the submitted photos we've had so far. So thank you for sending those in. Everybody else, please, I don't care if they don't have to be magnificent raptors. They can be whatever, like Andrew Corkle, send us a house sparrow. Spectacular. Thank you. We want to see y'all's work. And if you've never done any, as Sheldon has proved, you can do some grand work with a telescope and a DSLR. So, and last week, because of some confusion when we had to switch around and we went birds in flight, somehow I managed to delete the American kestrel in flight. We didn't have sound or anything. So I've closing out today's broadcast with the spectacular American kestrel in flight. Just beautiful bird there. So obvious. Let's listen to the sound.
You could be a half a mile away from this bird and hear that call, and it has to be the American kestrel. This particular bird is only 10.5 inches long, but it is considered to be a falcon. It's the smallest falcon in North America. It also, if you take a look at the bird on the left, you'll see 2 black vertical stripes down the side of the face. Those are field marks for the American kestrel. They're also referred to as someone would know as a sparrowhawk, because what they will do is they'll find finches and sparrows in flight on the wing, and that's their primary source of food.
I suspect that becomes a surprise for the sparrow or finch. Suddenly,
Yeah.
A shock to the system, if you will. So
Tarek is making a nice comment here. He says, I don't really care about birds, but birds are just so beautiful and so nice species to look at or listen to, some of them. Nice to see that you care to talk about birds.
Tarek, who lives in UAE, I'd love for you to send us, if you can get some pictures of birds around you. I'd love to get some.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And do some international birds.
Yeah,
absolutely. For sure. Tell us what they are. We do the research and spread some word, some love to other parts of the world. We'd love to do that. So are these birds, they appear to be monomorphic, are they?
No, they're not. The male, I swear there's some really great pictures out there for people to just Google it, American kestrel. Check out the male, because the male has a bluish gray wings, and the female is just all chestnut or light tan,
Okay.
And so the male is distinctly totally awesome. In fact, it's one of the coolest looking raptors.
So from this picture, I'm going to say the male is the one in flight, because we can't see the blue on his wings, and the one that's still on the branch probably is the female because it clearly does not have any blue wings.
I believe you are correct, Kent.
Okay. And looking at it, it's all of North America.
I can, yes. And I also want to tell you we talked last week about general impression of size and shape, jizz. The jizz of this particular bird is that it hovers. It can hover for a long time, a minute or even longer, and they're looking down to see if there's any voles or mice or a little flock of birds or whatever. And then they fold those wings and then they dive just like a falcon. You can't even see how fast they go.
It's, I guess instead of being eagle-eyed, they're being kestrel-eyed or falcon-eyed. We had, and I wish I would have got pictures of it. We were a couple of years ago during COVID, we went on the lake and we were fishing, and we heard this giant, there was a flash with this giant splash, and an osprey came up with a big old fish. And it was just, of course, that's the thing, you get luck. You have a camera running the whole time. It happens. But it is amazing how fast a bird goes in a dive.
Speaking of cameras, Kent, Tarek says, I can't take good pictures of birds. He says, I want to. He says, do you know good gear for that?
Well, Tarek, from your other Facebook page posts on astronomy forums, I think you've got a telescope. And if you've got a DSLR and a telescope, that's good
tripod
enough.
Yeah.
We have some, and a tripod. Now, how they do it is, we haven't had any from Sheldon in the last few weeks, but he has an Explore Scientific, I think a 102.
ED80. ED80 FCD 100.
And it's on it. So it's an 80 millimeter telescope on a tripod. He shoots with a DSLR. And what he does is he watches where the birds want to land. And then he focuses his telescope there and then just waits. And when a bird lands, he starts shooting pictures. And so he does things like put a bird seed on his railing in a little pile, and the birds get used to coming. And so when he puts seed out, he knows they're going to come, and they tend to land in the same spot. And so he just waits for the bird to get there, and he's in dead sharp focus, and he can get his exposure right. He takes pictures. So that's how he takes pictures. Getting pictures of birds flying around is very difficult. That's a skill to develop, like astrophotography is a skill to develop. But just taking pictures of birds sitting on a branch where they want to be anyway can be a pretty straightforward operation. It's just a matter of focus and exposure and patience. It's a function of patience. And all these pictures that we'll see next week and we saw last week, Terry Stanfield, who took this picture, he goes out for 2 or 3 or 4 hours every morning and every evening shooting pictures. And so
can I add one thing?
Sure, Dan.
I'm not an astrophotographer, but I do know about the way that you highlight resolution. If you're going to either be looking through a good binoculars or spotting scope, make sure, if at all possible, make sure that the sun is behind you, because backlight will just ruin any picture of this potential. So position yourself such that the sun is always behind you.
Yep, right. That's critical. Always be shooting with the sun, because otherwise you're just going to get a wonderful silhouette of a bird.
Right.
So always be shooting with the sun at your back, or, it can be 3/4 away at your shoulder, can create some interesting shadows, but you want to try to get direct with the sun to do what Dan was talking about, make those beautiful colors just explode, just to really pop. Terry gets these great photos because he makes his luck by being familiar with his gear and being out there all the time to take pictures.
He also uses a bird blind, doesn't he? He's in a blind.
Many of them, he's in a blind, but he's also, this picture was taken at a power plant lake that he built a nature watch area. And so there's people out there all the time, and the birds just sort of get used to people coming and going and don't really care about it. And, having a long lens, I think he's got a 300 millimeter lens, which is not a lot of these, people you see out have really, really big lenses, to reach out there a long way, because what they're trying to take pictures of is a long ways off. So, once again, send us your pictures. And here we go to the pretty picture of the day of something that flies. It's not a bird. This is a pipe of vine swallowtail butterfly on a coneflower. So what I like about Terry is he is a nature photographer, not just a bird photographer. And he's got some amazing pictures of dragonflies. Saw one today that I may go ahead and sub out and put in the show next week. But I have this, pile of pretty photographs that he takes of insects and flowers and stuff. And I do that to remind us to don't get focused on just one thing. Pay attention to the world around you and look for beauty around you everywhere. And don't be afraid to take pictures of it. So I'm back.
Martin Eastburn says it's he said, well, I want to read this other one here first. This is from Jeff Wise. He says, I nearly got knocked off a motorcycle one night by a 3-foot owl. He said it flew right into him.
That would be scary.
That would be
beak first.
I have seen some big owls. I saw a huge owl that I just thought it was a tree stump out in the northwest area of Florida. I mean, this thing was giant. I'd never seen a bird so big. Martin Eastburn says it's instructive when small, tiny birds run off a bald eagle from the tree. The little ones are in. The little ones are in. The bald flies off with birds sniping. The bird flies off with birds sniping at the bald.
I've got a picture we're going to see in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it away, but it's a pretty cool picture. Obviously, something related to a bird, sniping at another much, much larger bird. It's a very cool picture.
And Tarek says here, all I see is mainly pigeons, crows, I guess, maybe chickens, house sparrows, flamingo, which are now protected to access to, and maybe something like bee eaters are very, very rare. I'm talking about nature birds, not in cages.
Yeah, I'd love to see a picture of flamingos from you. And any other pigeons, that's fine. They're birds. We're talking about birds, and like Dan says, that birders have goals of, like we astronomers do the Messier objects and mark them off the list. Birders mark on the Herschel 400s and whatever. Birders mark off. They saw this bird. Okay, they've got that for a lifetime. And Dan, you're at 590 something.
Yeah, about 596.
So we've got to get you 4 more. I mean, it's 4 birds. I know it doesn't matter to you, and the problem is, when you're 600 birds in, you probably have to search for the birds and travel.
You are 100% correct. Astrophotographers have the sky every night. They got to be in right conditions. But in birding, every one of those birds has its own boundaries and its own territory. And if you want to build that list, yes, I have taken scores of trips with the purpose of just birding over the last 30 years.
And so have you, unless there's some crazy storm that blows a bird way off course, I'm going to assume that you've gotten every bird in Colorado.
I probably have 90% of them, but the 10% you either have to go 14,000 foot peaks, or you've got to go, 400 miles southeast of Denver, which is a long, hot drive, and I wouldn't want to go there anyway. No, and honestly, Kent, you really have to be intentional if you're going to be a counter of birds on a bird list. You literally say, okay, I know there are 5 birds down south of Austin, Texas, and I've got to go there to get these birds.
And you've got to be there in April or May to get them potentially.
Well, or else go to their their territory where they reside most of the time. So you can get them even when they're not on territory. But literally, I could write a book, and there's lots of books about it. There's so many aspects of birding. But I can tell you right now, even though I'm 76 right now, I absolutely love just looking at a robin, my favorite bird. So, I mean, I don't really need to go down up to Alaska to get 5 or 6 birds that would be added to my list, when in fact I'm excited about the hummingbirds I have in my backyard.
Yeah.
It's an awesome hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harold Locke says, one night delivering papers, I disturbed an owl on a branch. With a large antenna, he covered the top layer. With a large antenna, he covered the top layer of Sunday newspapers with the contents of his system. Oh my God. It was a massive amount of fur, feathers, and debris. Wonderful.
So,
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Tariq had asked about Terry Stanfield.
Yeah, and I already
posted a link.
posted. Yeah, post a link.
I did. I posted a link directly to his page.
Okay, his
Yep.
Facebook page. Yeah. And Beatrice says, I already had 3 times a bird flying against my front window of my car. For a moment, I felt like Tippi Hedren in The Birds. So, one of my mother's favorite movies.
All right. So Tariq
Scary
says,
to me.
Yeah. Tariq saying, okay, very early morning, the sun will highlight the garden nicely for an hour or 2. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So
If you guys are interested in a blind that can be used as a birding blind, we make something called the Bresser 360-degree blind, and I'll just post a link that you can check that out. But yeah, it is designed for hunters, but your method of hunting could be with a camera lens. So, but this will keep the birds from being too shy around you. So
I've got it. I'm gonna share my screen and we'll just show a picture of it real quick.
okay.
Hopefully, I'll show the correct one this time. We'll see what happens. There we go.
Something else I want to mention too is that Dan George is really an expert on binocular optics, and on one of these shows, we'll go through binoculars with Dan.
That's cool. So there's a picture of the blind right there.
Yep.
Get inside of it. You can open up all the way around, or open just the port you want to look out of, and you could brush it up or just set it up and leave it there, and very quickly the birds become
This thing
habituated.
It pops up. So
Right.
it's very fast to set up and tear down.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Setup is seconds. Takedown is a minute or 2. Worst case, after you practice how to coil the rings up, the takedown is under a minute as well.
yeah, as long as you're not in real heavy rain, you'll stay dry in this thing too.
Yeah. So there we go.
Very cool. Perfect.
All right. So next week, I can't remember what next week is, but I can tell you real quick because I have the PowerPoint done already. Next week is Wings on the Water. Okay.
Ooh, I like
So,
that.
The week after that, I've got scheduled as More Sparrows, and then episode 11.
Except for the house sparrow.
Sir,
Except for the house sparrow.
I'm going to put a house sparrow in, Dan, just for you now.
No way.
Dan refuses to talk about it.
In fact, I'm going to do a whole
Yeah,
show.
well, Dan, what do you think about this one? Nothing.
We're-
It'll just
we're
be
gonna
like,
do a-
you'll hear crickets. Yeah.
We're going to do a whole show on house sparrows. just
I'll have to
for
get
Dan.
like the cricket sound effect where
Yeah,
it's,
exactly.
right?
And then episode 11 right now is shaping up to be juveniles. So it's
Juveniles.
Terry
Okay.
got a bunch of fledged birds and showing how, for instance, an indigo bunting as a juvenile doesn't look like an indigo bunting.
Mhm.
And a blue grosbeak looks like a really, really sick blue grosbeak. So there's going to be some cool pictures there that we'll talk about and see some pictures of some cool juveniles. But next week is Wings on the Water.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, thank you too. And, on Friday, we have more programming for you as well. We've got Focus on Astrophotography with Chuck and Ross and Cameron, and any special guests they might be bringing on. And they have been bringing on some pretty interesting people from around the world. So if you love astrophotography and you want to share some of your experiences, or you have questions about astrophotography, please join us, and we'll be back on tomorrow at 4 o'clock Central. So until that time, you guys take care. Thank you, Dan, and
Thank you.
thank you, Kent. We'll talk to you later.
See everybody on the next broadcast. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Dan, stay on.